Prepare slaughter. We about to bombard their whole operation. Certified priests prophesying this my occupation. This shit outrageous. They done made the truth docile. That's why we on the corner crying aloud, looking hostile. It's I.S.U.P.K style. Can't stop now. Father's warfare couldn't last one round. Let the oppressed rise, and let the rich mourn till the sundown. Enough with these chickens. About to make it hot, call it compound. This for my niggas, put the guns in the drugs down. Dwelling in peace till the Lord call for the bloodhounds. Try to decide my death and got beside yourself. Swore drawn for what you perform. How you gon' hide yourself? Devil got to die for his lies and his visions. Ain't got no love for the crackers. Nah, just cruel intentions. And then my father's house is spinning mansions. I got plenty bitches. Worthy of vengeance. This your death sentence. I'm talking this slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. That they do not rise. Go ahead and fill the world with lies. Ain't die for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. That's why I'm talking to you. So warn for your life. Your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Tell them devils that the end is near. Slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah. Now they shook from vicious words out this handbook. About to take these rappers back to school. My flow standing hook. They crossed the line. Ain't no coming back. You became no cowards. The only thing sweet is the honey jet. Righteous is the Lord. Give me rest from my sorrow. And hand down death for them devils. There's no tomorrow. Why? Cause they violence leave a man a stiff corpse. You see a flag in a badge. I see horns in a pitchfork. Go ahead. So please believe it. The white man is a demon. And I ain't gon' vote for them to free me. No. They beat us till we the color purple. That's why this knife to their throat like ceiling. You got this nigga on his knees. They wanna have peace. We screaming, let this bitch burn at 1,000 degrees. I'm laying in the bosom of revenge. I told her I'd do anything she please as I squeeze on the double D's. Fuck you mean? I'm talking to you. Slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. That they do not rise. Go ahead and fill the world with lies. Ain't die for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. That's why I'm talking to you. So warn for your life. Your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Tell them devils that the end is near. Slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah.
The police just shot him for no apparent reason. No reason at all. They asked for license and registration. That's the police officer over there that did it. With the black on. I can't really do shit because they got me handcuffed. I can't believe they just did this. I'm fucking back! Ah!
It's okay, I'm not here.
Slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. That they do not rise. Go ahead and fill the world with lies. Ain't die for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. That's why I'm talking to you. So warn for your life. Your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Tell them devils that the end is near. Slaughter. Yeah, slaughter. Yeah.
All right. Shalom. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yashar Brakatham. My sisters, Yahweh Shamar Altan Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. I'm Priest and Officer Kwamgawan of the I.S.U.P.K under commanding Gen.YAHANNA. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Of course, we've been bringing up this truth since 1969, and that's that Blacks, Latinos, First Nation man and woman are the chosen people of the Most High God. And of course, the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks about. So today the topic is Christmas is not of God. It's a wicked, wicked holiday. Today we're going to be pulling out some scriptures. We're going to be reading from a book. Let me put it up here on my screen so I can show you. It's one of the books that I have. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, for some reason I can't put it up on the screen, but maybe you can see it here. This is the book here. It's called Celebrations. All right. So we're going to be reading a few pages out of that, and then we're going to jump into the scriptures. All right. So as you know, December 25th here in America and pretty much all over the world is the day that most people in the world will believe that they're celebrating Christ's birthday. There's gift giving. It's a lot of pagan activity. You understand that? And a lot of us, we grew up thinking that this is this is legit. This is something that is okay with the Lord and has to do with, Christ or Yahweh, which is far from the truth. This is something that's been rooted in pagan traditions. It goes way back since ancient Babylon into the Roman kingdom, the Greeks. You understand that? And it's been passed all around the world, and then it gets here. It got here eventually to the Western civilization, which is the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about. The white man is in charge here. He's been in charge for some time now. So what we need to understand is that most of these pagan traditions started and came from ancient Babylon and was passed down to the ancient Egyptians. Again, the Babylonians were actually the same stock. They're the Hamitic stock. You understand that? So this is the same people. They were just located in different regions, and they were called that because of where they were located. But these things started with the so-called dark races, the Hamitic races first. Then they passed down into the Greeks and the Romans. If you understand that the Greeks and the Romans, through people like Alexander, conquered a lot of those lands, and they assimilated into those cultures and took on a lot of those customs and then passed them down into Western civilizations, which you have today. And here in America today, the United States of America, we partake in these things, not us in the truth. I mean, people in the world who don't know any better partake in these ancient pagan traditions, and they have no idea where these things come from. And that's what we're going to try to bring out today. All right, so I'm going to start reading here. This is in page 308 of this book, Celebrations. And the topic is Christmas. This book is actually a very good book. You want to pick it up. It has the origins of most of these pagan holidays, pretty much all of them. You know what I mean? So right now we're talking about Christmas. All right. So I'm going to start here and on Christmas Day. It says, when observed, December 25th, earliest observance, early 4th century. That's here, present day. You understand that? Early 4th century. Back with the Romans and so forth, not the, earlier than that, but, not the Babylonians, but, from the Romans and the Greeks on. All right, it says, in those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus. If you don't know who Caesar Augustus is, the month of August is named after Caesar Augustus, all right, that all the world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria, and all went to be enrolled, each to his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the city of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house of the lineage of David, to be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. See, this is what they're trying to base it off of. As we get into this, you're going to find out that this is false. They just basically try to connect the two and say that Christmas has something to do with Christ being born, but it's far from the truth. And while they were there, the time came for her to be delivered. And she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for him in the inn. And you can find this in the book of Luke, chapter 2, I believe. All right. So it says, the biblical narrative of the birth of Jesus contains no indication of the date that the event occurred. Okay, so this is telling you that even though they tell you in the Christian church and all over the world that this is something that has to do with Christ, you won't find this in the scriptures. You understand that? This is something that's made up, this man made. However, Luke's report that the shepherds were abiding in the field, keep watch over their flocks by night, suggests that Jesus may have been born in summer or early fall. You see, this is just assumptions. You understand that? Since December is cold and rainy in Judea, it is likely the shepherds would have sought shelter for their flocks at night. In the 3rd century, efforts were made to ascertain the date of the nativity, but only in the year 336 was definite mention made of the December 25th festival in commemoration of Jesus' birth. So this didn't come about until 336. You understand that? See, these are things that, again, we're talking about the Romans and the Greeks. You understand that? They started instituting these things. Remember, they got this from the ancient Egyptians. You understand that? This was in the Philiocilian calendar and pertained only to the Western Church. By the middle of the 4th century, the feast was being celebrated in the eastern branches on January 6th, the Feast of Epiphany. Okay, that's one thing that's where it started at, the Feast of Epiphany. You can look that up on Google. Let me see something here. Let me see if they'll let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, hopefully you can see this here. I got it here on the screen. Let me read it to you real quick. It says the Feast of Epiphany, also known as the Three Kings Day. Remember, they talked about there was 3 kings that, went to see Christ. Is a Christian holiday that celebrates the manifestation of Jesus Christ to the world. You see, this is the things that it's rooted in. All right. Celebrated on January 6th. That's what we just read, or the closest Sunday to the date. What it celebrates: the visit of the Magi to the infant Jesus, the baptism of Jesus, and the revelation of the Holy Trinity. All right. Which is all Christianity, which is things that are not in the scriptures. You understand? This is all Christian made. Why is it called Epiphany? The word epiphany comes from the Greek word epiphania, which means appearance or manifestation. All right. See, remember I told you about the Greeks and the Romans. How is it celebrated? Celebrations include parades, gift giving, blessing water, and leaving out drinks for the 3 kings. See, here you go. This is where it's based off of. This is something that the white man took and altered it and made it his own way. You understand that? The Greeks and the Romans. But this is not in the scriptures. Other names. In Eastern traditions, it's called theophany. And Orthodox Christians call it the baptism of Christ. Symbolism. The 3 gifts of the Magi brought to Jesus, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, have different symbolic meanings. Okay, so I'm glad we were able to pull that up and see that there. All right, now let's get back into here. Okay, let me see. Okay, this was an older feast commemorating the baptism of Jesus, which we just read. There is no agreement among scholars as to whether the Feast of Christmas was of Eastern or Western origin. So this Feast of Epiphany was the first thing that they kept or celebrated, and then it evolved into what you see as Christmas now. All right. Now I'm going to read another chapter in here. It's in the same chapter actually. It's called Mithraic Influence on Christmas. Mithras has to do with the sun god. This goes back to ancient Babylon and Sumerian and so forth. Remember, I told you that a lot of these Greeks and Romans, like your Plato, Aristotle, Pythagoras, all these people, they studied in ancient Egypt. Okay, so this is where these things come from because they assimilated together, came together, mixed in culture, and then they took these things from the ancient Egyptians, which began in Babylon, and then it appears in Western civilization today. All right, so Mithraic influences on Christmas. Prior to the celebration of Christmas, December 25th in the Roman world was the Natalis Solis Invicti, which means the birthday of the unconquerable sun. Now, remember, the ancient Egyptians and the Babylonians, all these ancient civilizations, they worship the sun. Okay, so this is where it comes from. All right. The feast, which took place just after the winter solstice of the Julian calendar, was in honor of the sun god Mithras, originally a Persian deity whose cult penetrated the Roman world in the 1st century BC. And that is very heavy because guess what? Alexander was the one who defeated the Persians. Alexander conquered the Persians. I believe it was Darius, or he went to war with one of those Persian kings, and they defeated them. And then he basically conquered like half the world at one time. He went into Persia, Egypt, and then this is where you get the Ptolemies and and all these different things that came after. Okay, so it makes perfect sense because once they got there and defeated the Persians, they probably took on their culture, put it together and brought it back to Western civilization. All right. So Mithras had attained such popularity among the soldiery and such favor in the eyes of the emperors, see, the emperors, the Roman emperors, that Aurelian proclaimed the cult of Sol Invictus the Roman emperor's official state religion. All right. So there you go. This is what I was just talking about. They assimilated with these different people when they conquered them. And then, this thing started to spread, which originally began in ancient Babylon. All right. And of course, we're going to bring up the scriptures shortly. All right. Let's jump down to something else. The Saturnalia of Rome. Okay. So this is another version of this. Besides the Mithraic influence, other pagan forces were at work. From the 17th of December until the 23rd, Romans celebrated the ancient feast of the Saturnalia, a period of merrymaking and jubilation. It was commemorative of the golden age of Saturn, the god of sowing and husbandry, who brought the inhabitants of Italy peace and plenty under his wise rule. Remember, when you partake in these pagan holidays, what is really rooted in is the worship of some god. Okay, so that's what it's talking about. The sun god, Saturnalia, Feast of Epiphany. These are all originated in the worship of some god, some false god, which originated in ancient Babylon, but was passed down to where you see today. They call it something else today. That's all I'm trying to tell you is it's the same thing, but they call it Christmas today. You understand that? And this is how they fool you with fun and gifts and stuff like that, and make you think that it's legit and it's cool and it's lawful to the Most High, and it's not. You understand that? This is what the oppressors and the heathens do. They trick us with these things. And a lot of brothers and sisters grow up, and their families partake in these things and they think it's okay. So if you're a young child and you fresh out the womb, you're a couple years, you know what I mean? And all you hear is about Christmas. You see the tree up in the corner, you see it all decorated and everything, you're getting gifts. So what child wouldn't think that this is okay? You understand that, if it's not explained to them properly by their parents. You understand that? And our parents were, lied to and deceived as well. And this has been going on for centuries and centuries and centuries. These are curses that came down on the nation of Israel. And it's like that till this day. You understand? And of course, we're going to bring out the scriptures shortly. All right. A period of merrymaking and jubilation. It was commemorative of the golden age of Saturn, the god of sowing and husbandry, who brought the inhabitants of Italy peace and plenty under his wise rule. The Saturnalia was a time of equality between freemen and slaves. It's very heavy right there, because that's exactly what people feel like on Christmas. That, for some reason, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel is, it feels like almost like, you're not in slavery anymore because of the Christmas spirit, so to speak. And it's one day basically where it's like brothers and sisters feel like they're not slaves because they're getting gifts, and you know what I mean? They feel like they're accepted into America. And we're going to talk about all that shortly. We're going to bring out the revenue that Christmas is supposed to generate this year, which is unbelievable when you see it. Okay, let me keep going. All right. The slave could shout at his master and carry on as lustily as he pleased. Actions that normally call for severe punishment will be overlooked in the social permissiveness of the season. So during this time, they would allow the slaves to act out as if they were rulers. You understand that? For one day. Ain't that something? Good night. All right. Okay, let me move down to one more page, and then we're going to get into so I want to pull up where it says Christmas in the New World. This is another chapter in here. All right. This is talking about, what you see today. The history of Christmas in the New World starts on December 25th, 1492. You know about 1492, all right? That day, Columbus ship, the Santa Maria, you see what that sounds like? Saint Nick, Santa Maria, you understand that? Was caught on a reef off the coast of Haiti and had to be abandoned. The fortress built from the ship's timber was named La Navidad, the Nativity. You see that? This is crazy, you know what I mean? A record of Christmas spent in Virginia in 1613 by an expedition of Captain John Smith reads, "The extreme wind, rain, frost, and snow caused us to keep Christmas among the salvages where we were never more merry, nor fed on more plenty of good oysters, fish, flesh, wild fowl, and good bread, nor never had better fires in England." All right, so they're talking about when they landed in the 1600s, they celebrated Christmas, basically, something that they brought over here. All right, so we're going to jump out of that, and we're going to get to some of these scriptures, all right? So the first one I want to pull, let me see if I can share it here first. Let me get it up on my screen. Okay, we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. Give me 1 minute. Okay. All right. Now, hopefully you can see this on the screen. Now, remember what I said. I told you that all these pagan traditions originated in ancient Babylon. And this is why I brought this out. All right. Now, I'm going to read this here. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. I'm going to read that again. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and 7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. So let me break this down to you. Ancient Babylon is the origin of all this paganism. You understand that? And these wicked, abominable acts to the Most High God. And ancient Babylon has made the rest of the world, America, the United States, the Roman Empire, all the other empires, drunken. You understand that? What does it mean by drunken? These places have taken on the practices and the customs of ancient Babylon, and they have become drunk with abomination and wickedness. United States, you understand that? These are all pagan practices. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. What is it saying? Because we celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, birthdays, you know what I mean? All these different things. You know, the nations are gone mad. The nations are people, you understand that? And this includes the 12 tribes, the nation of Israel. We are mad. You know what I mean? We are definitely mad because we have taken on the customs and the practices of the nations round about us. And the Lord said that we are not to do the things of the people round about us. Specifically, it says after the doings of the land of Egypt, are you not to do? Again, these are things that were practiced in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt was a spring off from ancient Babylon. You understand that? So this is what the scripture is saying. The rest of the world is drunken by the practices and the customs of ancient Babylon. So you have Christmas today because of it. All right. Let's go to the next one. Now we're going to get into more on this Christmas topic. All right. So let's pull this up here. We're going to Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. All right. And then we're going to read down a couple verses. Okay. Hopefully you can see this on the screen. Let me get it up a little bigger here. All right, it says in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1, it says, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. And that's talking to the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, First Nation, man and woman. And it always starts out by saying, O house of Israel, because this Bible is letting you know that this is not talking to anybody else. It's talking to only the Israelites. All right, so keep that in mind. Let's go to the next verse. All right. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. All right. I'm going to read that again. Thus saith the Lord, Jeremiah chapter 10 and 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So the Lord is letting you know that all these pagan practices, all these things that are not of the Lord, they are of the heathen. And we, as the children of the Most High God, are not to be like them. We are not to do what they do. With that being said, Christmas is one of the things that we are not supposed to do. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Here we go. Now it's about to go into detail about this wicked holiday. Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. All right. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. All right. So these customs of these people, or the people that bring these things about, are vain, meaning worthless, useless. It's about nothing. It's nothingness. You understand that? To the Most High God. These things are nothing to God. Things that we think are something here in America and all over the world, we take them as it's something important. But the Lord said these things are nothing. They are of man. They are man-made. All right. Here we go. Now it's going to describe what we're talking about. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 4. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. All right. Now you begin to understand what this is talking about. Where does it say deck? They deck it with silver and with gold. That's talking about your Christmas tree. All right. That's what that's talking about. Let me see if I can get a picture of a Christmas tree on here. All right. And I'll share it on the screen. Okay. Yeah, it's perfect. All right. I'm I'm gonna stop sharing that. I'm gonna go back to it. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Now, hopefully you can see this all on the screen. There's plenty pictures up there. You can see that. All right. You see, they deck it with silver and gold. Look at all the, the fake gold and stuff they throw in the Christmas tree. They deck it with all these ornaments and stuff like that. I mean, everybody's seen this. Everybody's, knows about Christmas. You know what I mean? This is something that you can't miss because they display it, they portray it, you know what I mean, all over the world during this time. I mean, some people put their Christmas tree up as early as September and they keep it up until summertime, which is just madness. You understand that? But this is what it's talking about when they say they deck it with silver and with gold. All right. So that's what that's talking about. Let me stop. Let me go back into the scriptures. Slock it 1 minute. Okay. All right. Let me go to the next verse. Here it goes. Let's describe a little bit more about the Christmas tree. Jeremiah 10:5. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. So it's talking about, it's talking about what the Christmas tree looks like. And it's also talking about, because back in ancient Babylon, this was something that the people feared because Nimrod. Now, Nimrod was the first king on earth. He was in opposition against the Most High God. He was a heathen. He was of the Hamitic stock. And during that time in ancient Babylon, he was looked at as like a god to them. You understand that? And when he died, his sister / mother, you know what I mean, had the people in fear over this Christmas thing, this Christmas tree. And we're going to pull that up shortly. And then we'll read some more scriptures. But that's what it's talking about. Okay. So it can't do you no evil. It's not going to, I mean, basically it is a despicable, wicked act. And the Lord does not want us to partake in it, but it can't physically do anything to you. But it is unlawful to have this in your house. You understand that? It is a sign of paganism and a sign of a god. You understand that? A false god. And we only serve the Most High God. You know what I mean? Yahweh. You understand that? So now let me stop sharing that, and then I'm gonna pull up what I got here as far as this. Let me see if I got it here. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right. Okay, here we go. Now, remember, I told you that most of these things were rooted in ancient Babylon, and we talked about Nimrod and his sister wife, Semiramis. All right, so here it goes. Hopefully, you can see this on the screen. It says, according to some, the Christmas tree and the tradition of gift giving are rooted in the story of Nimrod and Semiramis, and the belief that Nimrod was reborn in the form of Tammuz. Tammuz is supposed to be the son of Nimrod, which is more about sun worship. Remember, this is all. It might be confusing. You understand that? And I understand it might be confusing if you're hearing from the first time, but Nimrod, Tammuz, Osiris, Horus, all these different characters back in the ancient time when you deal with the Hamitic people, Babylon, ancient Egypt, this is all about sun worship. And then when they get into the Roman and Greek culture, you start to hear things like Jupiter, Zeus. These are all the same things, but the name just changes depending on the location. All right, so Nimrod. In Jewish and Christian tradition, Nimrod is considered to be the leader of those who built the Tower of Babel. Babel's Babylonian. The Bible describes Nimrod as the first on earth to be a mighty man. See that he was a mighty hunter, and he was like the first king on earth. You understand that? So, according to the paganism and the wickedness, that's what I mean. Semiramis. After Nimrod's death, Semiramis claimed that he was a god and that she saw a tree spring from a dead stump to symbolize Nimrod's new life. This is talking about when they talk about, that's why they chose the evergreen tree, because the evergreen tree symbolizes fertility, rebirth, reborn. You understand that? This is what it's talking about. She claimed that Nimrod would visit the tree on the anniversary of his birth, which was on the winter solstice, and leave gifts under it. So this whole winter solstice thing about the sun, basically going down to its lowest point till to the December when it gets cold, and then eventually, getting back up, rising back up because the months are, it's starting to get warmer, and then it peaks like in the the springtime. This is what it's all about: sun worship. The Hamitic people worship the sun. You understand that? So if you're celebrating Christmas, you're not celebrating Christ. You understand that? You're celebrating the birth of Nimrod. That's what you're celebrating. And that's what they tricked you into doing. You understand that? She claimed that Nimrod would visit the tree on the anniversary of his birth, which was on the winter solstice, and leave gifts under it. This is where all these things come from. The Christmas tree. This Christmas tree is said to symbolize Nimrod's new life in Tammuz. Pagans would bring fir trees into their homes at Yuletide to represent everlasting life and fertility. Germany is credited with starting the tradition of decorated Christmas trees in the 16th century. All right, so the Germans were the first to start doing the gifts and stuff, here in America. Gift giving. The tradition of gift giving is said to be rooted in the story of Nimrod and Semiramis. Okay, so that's what I want to let you know, that these things are rooted in paganism in ancient Babylon. Okay, you can Google these things on your own. This is not Priest Officer Kwamgwan's words. This is what I learned as I came into the truth, and I I.S.U.P.K under command in Gen.YAHANNA, and I'm just sharing it with you. All right, so let me get some more here. Let's go back into the scriptures. All right. No, first let me share one more thing before I go back into the scriptures. Okay, let's get this Sol Invictus. All right, because we didn't get to pull that up. All right, I want to pull this up, so hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to see it there. Okay. All right. So this is on Google. You can type it in yourself. Sol Invictus is a Latin phrase that translates to unconquered sun or invincible sun. It was the name of a Roman sun god and the official deity of the Roman Empire from the 270 CE until Christianity replaced sun worship in the 300 CE. The title Sol Invictus was used to refer to multiple solar deities, including Sol, who was the patron god of Emperor Aurelian; Mithras, a Persian god of soldiers; Ella Gabal, a Syrian sun god. So this is where these things are written again. And this is grafted from the ancient Egyptians and the Babylonians. Okay, this is just when the Romans got it and the Greeks. You understand that? I wanted to bring that out to show you, this is a more modern version of it. That's all I'm saying. All right, now we can stop that and go back into the scriptures. Let's get Deuteronomy 4 verse 19. All right, we're going to go there. Deuteronomy 4 and 19. Okay, here we go. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 19. And least thou lift up thine eyes into heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. So what's happening here, if you read a couple verses up, it's going to tell you that the Lord is against you worshiping these things. And notice what it said first, the sun. That's what you're doing when you worship Christmas, because you're worshiping or celebrating Nimrod's birthday. And Nimrod was said to be, represented as the sun. You understand that? The same thing has been passed down into the Greek and Roman culture, you know what I'm saying, and Western civilization today. So this is what it's rooted in, sun worship. You know what I mean? That's what it's doing. Okay, so I just want to bring that out. Let's get Deuteronomy 17 and chapter 2, verse 5. Two, 5. Okay, so this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse 2. Hopefully you can see that there. It says, if there be found among you within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman that have wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, and transgressing his covenant, and have gone and served other gods and worshiped them, either the sun or moon or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded. See, the Lord is telling you, he has not commanded us or wants us to celebrate the sun or Nimrod or any of these wicked acts. All right, okay. Verse 4, and it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true among the thing and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel. So this is an abomination in the nation of Israel. You understand that? This is something that we don't do. So if the Lord hears this and you hear this, this is what he's saying. Verse 5, then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman, which have committed that wicked thing, unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shalt stone them with stones till they die. You see, this is when in the scriptures. There was a time when you would be unalive for these things. You understand that? This is how serious this is. The Lord is not with us celebrating pagan holidays or worshiping the sun. All our praise and he gets all the glory. You understand that? We give him the praise and the glory. You understand that? Not to no one else. You're being fooled, Black and Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. We're being fooled by man. You understand that? The oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about. And he got these things from the ancient Egyptians and the Babylonians. So when we celebrate these things, we are being wicked and despicable in the Most High's eyes. You understand that? All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 10, Genesis chapter 10, 8 to 10. Okay. All right. We're just going to prove a few things before we jump out of here. So lock in 1 minute. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. So what I'm going to prove here is I'm going to show you that, it was the Babylonians under Nimrod. These is where this wickedness started at. All right. It says Genesis in chapter 10, verse 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth, in the earth. See, I wanted to pull this out because a lot of you don't know that that these things are in the Bible. We did read it on Google, but Nimrod is mentioned in the Bible. So this is how you know it's legit, because it's in the Bible. Genesis 10, verse 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. Cush is Hamitic, and he's one of the sons of Nimrod is one of the sons of Cush. All right. Let's go to 9. Here we go. Genesis 10 and 9. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. See, it's letting you know his place in earth, what he was doing. He was a king on earth at the time. All right. Now watch this. Here we go. Genesis chapter 10 and 10. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, and the land of Shinar. We want to make an emphasis on Babel, because that's where Babylonia comes from, Babylon. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel. This is letting you know that this is where the wickedness started at, ancient Babylon, under Nimrod. Okay, this is in the Bible. Pull it up for yourself. You understand that? Again, this is not Priest Officer Kwamgawan's words. This is in the Bible. All right, pull it up for yourself. All right, now let's go to Genesis 11. All right, we got a few more before we get out of here. All right, here we go. Now this is going to let you know after the flood how they ended up in that area. Okay, over there in the east in ancient Babylon, in that whole area. All right, this is Genesis chapter 11. And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. See, remember, we just read that about Nimrod. One of his kingdoms was Shinar. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. Verse 4. And they said, go to, let us build us a city. Go to means we're going to go there. Let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. So this is the Babylonians. This is what they're talking about. They want to build a tower up to God. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. Verse 6. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. All right. So the Lord went down and confounded their language. And then you can see that he scattered them all over across the earth. And then in verse 9, it tells them that they called this place Babel. So this is Babylon. You understand that? This is where the beginning of the wickedness started. Okay. So this is just where this is after the flood, when Noah and his 3 sons got into the ark. And then, after the water subsided, this is where they went. Okay. So this is letting you know this is where it started at. All right. And a lot of people try to tell you it was ancient Egypt and all these things. It's bull crap. Read the scriptures. It tells you where it started at. They don't want you to know, certain things, so they try to lie to you. That's why you can't be educated by the oppressor. The I.S.U.P.K, the command in Gen.YAHANNA is where you need to go. All right. Now I'm gonna pull a couple more and then we're gonna get out of here. All right. Let's go to Amos 5 and 21. Let you know how the Lord feels about these things. You celebrating Christmas, you didn't know, you understand that your mother, your father told you about it. It's been passed down from traditions, but we're going to break that tradition right now. All right. So we can't use this as excuse no more. Here we go. The book of Amos chapter 5 and verse 21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. This is talking about things like Christmas. It's a solemn assembly where a family comes together. They think it's a special day. They do what? They eat. They have a feast, gift giving. There's music played. We can go down to the next verse. It talks about how the Lord put away from me, the noise of your instruments. This is look. I'll show it to you, so you can see it for yourself. Verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melodies of thy vows. He's talking about those stupid, ridiculous Christmas songs. You understand that? The Lord doesn't care about none of that. He doesn't care about none of these things. I just seen Ashanti made a Christmas album or something like that. See, they use our people, to get to our people. You understand that? They use the rich of our people to brainwash and to lead us astray. So you can't be fooled by these people like, Ashanti and Jay-Z and, TD Jakes and all these people that's going to, when Christmas comes around, they're going to be, promoting it for the heathen. All right. Let's get another one. All right. Remember, I told you that this is the worship of a false god. You understand that? And the Lord hates that. The Lord hates that for the children of Israel. You know what I mean? We are his chosen people, his separate people. And this is how he feels about these things. Exodus 20 and verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. This is what you're doing when you celebrate pagan holidays. You're worshiping a god and you're making that day about that god. You understand that? And even on your birthday, you make yourself a god. You can't even have yourself before the Lord. You understand that? So that's what this is talking about. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Christmas is a no-no. You understand that? Don't celebrate Christmas. All right. Let me get like maybe one or two more, and then we're going to jump out of here. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Listen up here, children of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, First Nation man and woman. This is what the Lord wants to tell you. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. What this is saying here is that holy means to be separate. The Lord wants his people, blacks, Hispanics, First Nation man and woman, to be separate from other people, separate from other people, meaning we can't celebrate Christmas. You understand that? We are not to celebrate the unconquerable son or Nimrod's birthday. You understand that? We are not to be like the ancient Babylonians or the ancient Egyptians. The Lord wants us to separate from these people. You understand that? Be holy. We're supposed to be holy priests, a nation of priests. You understand that? That's what that's saying there. All right. Let's get one more. Let's go into my 16:11, and then we're going to get First Ezra's what is it? 9 and 9. First Ezra's 9 and 9. All right. Okay. Here's another scripture about separation. All right. First Ezra chapter 9, verse 9. Separating from the heathens is all over the Bible. Don't let nobody tell you that we're all one people and we're supposed to love all these other people. No. Keep your love with the nation of Israel only. First Ezra 9 and 9. And do his will and separate yourselves from the heathen of the land and from the strange woman. See, the Lord wants us to separate from heathens completely. Even when it comes to interracial marriage, the Lord wants us to separate from other nations, to deal with our own people only. Give our love to our own people only. You understand that? Separate from the heathen of the land. You're not separating from the heathens if you're celebrating Christmas or any other holiday for that matter. All right. Now, one more point I want to make. I want to bring this out. Okay. And I'm going to show you this. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me show you something. All right. Hold on. Let me make sure it pulls up first. Watch this. All right. Stop sharing that. All right. Look at this here. Look at this. This is why they want you to celebrate Christmas. You understand this? Look at this here. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen a little bigger. I know I can see it pretty decent. Okay. All right. Look here. In 2023, the total revenue for the winter holiday shopping season was $955 billion, which was a 3.87 increase year over year. Online sales accounted for 28.6% of the total, or $273.3 billion. This is what you're going to spend this year on Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, which is going to boost the heathen's economy and have the Most High God pissed and upset with you. You understand that? When I say you, I'm talking about brothers and sisters in the world. We don't do that here in the I.S.U.P.K under command of Gen.YAHANNA. You understand that? We know better. You understand that? But this is what it's all about. This is why they want to keep you sinning against the Most High God, because it means money and domination for them, but destruction and slavery and poverty for us. You understand that? This is why we have to stop celebrating things like Christmas. A lot of brothers and sisters are going to, not pay their mortgage and their rent or their car note and be put out in the damn street because they want to celebrate Christmas. You're going to celebrate Christmas. The kids are going to get the toys. They're going to play with them for 2 or 3 hours. And the next thing you know, you're going to look over in the corner. They're going to be all broken up. And the kids are not going to even want to play with the toys anymore. And then, you know what I mean? Your landlord's going to call you and put you out of the damn house because you celebrated Christmas because you didn't want to pay your rent, because you want to celebrate the unconquerable sun. You want to celebrate Nimrod's birthday. You want to be like the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Babylonians. You understand that? That's what this is talking about. $955 billion is going to be spent on damn Christmas. Good night. You understand that? You know, I'm so glad that the Lord had mercy on me and introduced me to the truth. And even before I came into the truth, I wasn't celebrating Christmas for about 13, 14 years. So, you know, the Lord had mercy on me. And then thanks to the I.S.U.P.K, the commanding Gen.YAHANNA, I know even more now. You understand that? So, you know, it's a great time for me during this year because I have more money in my pocket. And you could have more money in your pocket too, black man and black woman, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. You could too, if you just keep the law, statutes, commands of the Most High God. All right. And with that, I'm going to close out the class again. Do not celebrate Christmas. If you've been watching this class, you understand that, you know, hopefully you took it in. You understand that this is something that's going to anger the Most High God, you know what I mean? And keep us in destruction and keep the oppressors and rulership and money in their pocket and no money in your pocket. The water for tuning in. Shalom, Israel.